Hey guys, just finished watching Arrow, Season 7, Episode 10. My name is Emiko Queen. This episode was kind of really interesting. I mean, it was a really good episode, the first episode back after the mid-season final, which was the Elseworld crossover. So this episode was really interesting. Picks right up from where we last left off on episode 8 of season 7, and I think that was really interesting. We start off with Emiko, and she has like a name with like lists very similar to season 1 of Arrow, which kind of doesn't make sense to me because, you know, if Robert Queen just kind of abandoned them, never really hung out with them and stuff, and I'm not sure if she knew. I mean, she obviously knows that Robert Queen's her father and stuff, but you know, how much did she only have fleeting memories of him and never really knew much about him, other than to say that her mother would make sure to tell her, you know, this guy on TV, this guy in the newspaper, this guy, you know, this celebrity, this, you know, billionaire celebrity, Robert Queen is your father and stuff. And I think that was an interesting idea, but it's just how, like, you know, she probably knows a lot. She's probably done her research now and probably looked into it a lot and all that stuff. But the things that she knows, like, how does she know about the book that he had? How does she know about all these stuff without, you know, and recreate a book just like Oliver Robert Queen left for Oliver Queen to find? How did she recreate that so exactly the same style book and everything? Without, and finding out that information without Felicity knowing about her at any point in time. And that was also kind of weird, is when Felicity later on through the episode, she goes in and she kind of figures this stuff out and starts to kind of dive deep into Robert Queen's holdings and like secret accounts and stuff. She's been going through that for a few years. Every now and then, like ever since they've been digging up things back in season 1 when he first hired her, and they dug into stuff, finding out how the dark stuff and that Robert Queen did and Maura Queen did. She never found this secret thing that was kind of getting hiding Oliver's sister. You know, I mean, if she didn't find it, if she didn't stumble upon it all those other times looking at it, then, you know, they should have made it seem a lot more difficult for her to kind of crack, and they should have built this up a lot more instead of her just trying to, like, 2 seconds, just, oh, here you go, got the information. And it's like, you never stumbled upon that when looking before, you know, looking into all the other stuff. There's nothing else that never kind of stood out or anything like that. So I don't know, I just think that the way she kind of did that, I guess they wanted to move the episode on, but it just didn't make sense as to, you know, why was it so easy to find when, you know, and if it was so easy to find, you know, that Moira was hiding those accounts with all the hard files and stuff, to find out when they found that, why didn't they bring those in before? You know, when Moira died, they didn't go and look at all those books and all these stuff, and you know, all this stuff was hidden, but, you know, they haven't found it now. Like, where was all these papers, and why were they you know, so easy to find when they were looking for them that they didn't stumble upon them when they're looking for other stuff in past seasons, you know? So I think they should have made that a little bit more difficult, just to keep the continuity in the season. Within the other seasons, a little bit more realistic and stuff, because this just doesn't make sense. But I guess I understand that they just want to move the episode forward, and they didn't want to drag this out for no reason, right? They'd just be dragging it out just to make continuity make more sense, right? So I don't know. I just wish there was a happy medium they could have done than just being too easy, you know. So we see Emiko ends up going to Renee for help after she gets shot and stuff. So that was interesting. It was unclear as if she knew that. I mean, she's yet to called herself Emiko. She told him her name. She eventually tells it to Curtis too and stuff, but it's unclear if they know whether or not she's a queen, right? Obviously she will at one point, but we'll have to wait and see as to where things kind of go. You know, if Renee if Renee will find out that she's Oliver's sister, you know, before Oliver tells her, before Felicity tells him, things like that. I think that could be really interesting to see as to where things go there. We also get some flash forwards with Renee trying to clean up the Glades as like the mayor of the Glades type thing. I think that's kind of interesting. It looks like he's also behind the death of Felicity in the future, so I think that's really interesting. That'd be really cool to see as to where things go there. It'd be interesting to see as if they end up, I think, was it a few seasons ago of Legend of Tomorrow that had Felicity on there for a brief intro, and she played like a vigilante type thing, where she had like a long purple trench coat and stuff, and she was only in like for like a very fast scene just so that I think it was the Legion of Doom episode when was it season 4 or something like that of Legend of Tomorrow, something like that, where or season 3 when the bad guys had won and they had a dystopian future and they ended up killing off Felicity and stuff just because this was a dystopian future where the time was obviously going to get reset. And I think that was interesting, and it'd be interesting to see if they end up reusing that costume that they had made a few seasons back for Felicity. And I think that's going to be interesting because usually they don't tend to make a costume just like put all this money into a costume just for nothing, and it's been a while since we've used it, although that didn't look like a too complicated costume because it could have just been a jacket and then stuff really kind of simple. No, it wasn't like a full-on comics accurate costume. They had to have handmade and stuff. It didn't look like it was too expensive, but I think it'd be an interesting idea to if we get some flashbacks from the flash forward of Felicity in the future to see what she looked like, and get more details about Felicity in the future, and to see if she had that costume. It could be something cool to play with, and to see how far we have to go before things get changed. And also I'm hoping that there's some sort of stuff connecting with the Flash show, that dealing with the future here and dealing with the future on the Flash show, with Nora Allen. Hopefully some of the stuff that happens with Nora Allen can affect this show, and then it kind of changes the stuff. So whatever happens at the end of the Flash, and hopefully not just the endings, but throughout the seasons, if they go back and forth in time, the Flash needs to affect here, because we now have time. We have the future over on Arrow, and it needs to connect, and and it should also connect with Legend of Tomorrow. So I think that could be something interesting to seeing that, or to see the Legend of Tomorrow cast going to the future where William and all this stuff is going on. It could be really fun to play with too. So we see that. So we see Felicity. She looks over the blood from the crime scene, tells Oliver the Green Arrow is his sister. That's really interesting. So that's going to be cool to see where things go with that. Diggle wants to start a new Suicide Squad with Diaz and stuff, and just kind of springs it on Lila. So that'll be cool to see where things go with that, with the Suicide Squad. And I think that'll be interesting. Obviously, it was canceled. They kind of had to destroy the Suicide Squad on Arrow because of the movies and stuff. So I guess it doesn't seem like they're going to be doing too many Suicide Squad movies, or they just want to do it. Maybe they're going to use characters like Diaz, and things like that, who are completely different from the characters in the movies. They're just probably not allowed to use Deadshot or any of those characters that they killed off. And probably not going to be using Harley Quinn for sure. But it would be cool to see as to who else is going to join this as they slowly do this, and to see who they are allowed to use for Suicide Squad. So far they haven't called it Suicide Squad or Task Force X, but we'll have to wait and see as if they get to use that, or if they're just not allowed to use that name. Maybe Task Force X, that could be something cool, using that name, but not, and then the movies can use the name Suicide Squad. But we'll have to wait and see as to where things go, because it doesn't look like we're going to be getting a Suicide Squad movie. We're just kind of like Harley Quinn joining the Birds of Prey and things like that. So that's probably why they're allowed to use the Suicide Squad now, again, on Arrow. So that'll be cool to see that. We see Curtis joins Renee and Emiko as backup and stuff, so I think that's really cool. It's just like the guy in the chair. And when they get there, they start fighting everyone. Everything's pretty cool and stuff. And then we see Emiko starts fighting Glenn Morgan, the main bad guy she's been looking for, who turns out not to be the killer of her mother. So she was put on the wrong trail on purpose. So that's going to be interesting to see as to where things go with that. But Glenn Morgan grabs this like sword that he has. It's like 3 different edges, and it's like, oh my god, it's so stupid. Like, just have a regular sword there, have an axe if you want it to be different, maybe he's a rich guy and he collects ancient medieval things and stuff. Maybe a mace from an old collector's item mace. It's like a historical item, right? And that's just a weapon of choice that he grabs. That would make sense, right? If you want it to be different than just a sword, right? And have like an antique on the shelf and stuff. But this little thing that looked so stupid, it was just kind of, it might be an old weapon that just doesn't make sense. It's kind of like an old antique that they didn't think of the idea, but they could have used just something a little bit more simple rather than this silly sword. But it is what it is. Just kind of looks so stupid, and I laughed out loud when I saw that sword. So they should have used something a little bit more realistic. So definitely can't wait to see as to where things go there. And then we end the episode with Oliver meeting Emiko at her mother's grave and stuff. And that's really interesting to see as to where things go with this. I really kind of would like to see at some point, hopefully we get to keep Miko around for a few seasons, and then whenever we can get Willa Holland back to see, Thea, finding out that she has a stepsister now. Could be something really interesting, and I think it could be something, will be a fun development whenever we get that back. But first, let's just deal with this, get Miko into the cast and have her become a series regular, and then a few seasons down the road, maybe we're on season 7, so maybe at the end of season 8 or season 9, bring Thea back, and then do that storyline of like revealing, of her finding that she can find out who, meet Emiko and all that stuff. And I think it could be fun dealing with that. Then it could be something interesting to go. So I can't wait to see as to where things are going to go with this, how things are going to go, and diving deep into their relationship in the next episode. It looks like it's going to be that. I haven't watched a trailer yet for the next episode, but we'll have to wait. Based on obviously the ending, it looks like it's going to be dealing with the sibling meeting and stuff. I think that'll be quite cool to see as to where things go with this, and if to find out, like, is this something that's going to become public news that their siblings, and if it is news that like goes on the news and stuff, then it should be, we need to see it referenced on Arrow that, Oliver Queen's new, secret sister revealed, and it's so big that it would be worldwide news, right? If anyone, it'd be pretty big. It'd be like, he'd be like Chris Hemsworth, like a secret sister comes up out of nowhere type thing. It would be all over the tabloids and all over TV news, the internet. So there's no way for Barry Allen not to know if they decide to reveal it that way or if they just keep it secret. We'll have to wait and see. But if it does get public, then they need to recognize it on the Flash. Otherwise, what's the point in being connected, right? So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below. Where do you think things are going with these characters and stuff? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.